Welcome to the Business Octopus, where we talk about all things sales, marketing, and technology. I'm Eamon Collis, CRM and Marketing Automation Specialist at Relevate and all-around good guy. And today I'm joined with Orson Lord from Mediable, here to talk about creating engaging video content. Welcome, Orson. How are you doing?
Thanks, Avon. Today's been awesome, and really appreciative for you having me on this podcast to talk everything about video.
Fantastic. No worries at all. Well, we were chatting early on, and we're talking about, making sure that people actually want to watch these videos. And I think the key word is, engaging videos. So what the hell makes an engaging video?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a big and loaded question, but you can really dive it down to a few things. So engaging always means emotional. So being able to focus on things that emotionally affect people is really important. If straying away from facts is a common mistake, giving facts is a common mistake. So if you can spend the time more so talking about the amazing results you give or showcasing how exciting and fun being with you with whatever you do is always a big plus if you can focus on that.
I think you made me think of the shot on iPhone ad for Apple. And, that's the tagline. And they're doing all these amazing things. They're showing all of these action shots and different sort of effects. But the tagline is shot on iPhone. It's not like there's a 10 megapixel camera, it's got this much zoom, and the battery life is that. No one cares about that. That's that whole benefits versus features argument, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you'd probably notice this over the last 3 years, every major brand and company, they've been straying further away from stating facts because unfortunately facts were abused so much in our history that people just automatically, if they don't trust you, they're not going to trust your facts. They're actually going to think you're lying to you. And more often than not, it comes out detrimental. Like, when's the last time you heard a 9 out of 10 dentists recommend? Or again, the 14 megapixels are the latest to go. And if you keep going back further, the facts were more ridiculous, which was like, getting your asthma cleared with cigarettes back when advertising first became a thing. So as you notice, the trend is going less towards facts and more about how you can emotionally engage and trust something or someone.
I think, in this high content, high speed consumption world, one of the things grabbing that attention very early on, and I see it a lot because I get a lot of those marketing based companies putting their content on. But I was in the backyard the other day with the kids, and I thought of an idea of, just having bubbles go across the screen and just me standing there like, in a professional manner, but having bubbles go across it'll stop you scrolling. Like, what's something that stops people scrolling?
Oh, big hooks like that. Visual hooks like that are an amazing one. And I think hooks are actually probably one of the trickiest things to get right in videos, because if it's a good idea, someone's probably done it and then it can get overdone. But finding little things that make you zag when everyone's zigging is important. So, everyone's trying to present themselves professional, and here you are with bubbles and maybe there's a kid running around, and that's kind of a funny joke as well, like, because everyone's working from home due to these COVID times. So they're going to relate, have a laugh, and then see what's happening. The other, actually a really quick and easy tip for people is if you want to have a good hook, and you'll see this with a lot of professionals, it's a good staple like Gary Vee, is to find the hottest 3 seconds in your video, the most golden 3 seconds in your video, and slap that at the front and then go straight back to the intro. Yes,
yeah. I know that a lot of the YouTubers, so to say, in this video, we're going to talk about this, and this. And they whack that out so damn fast, it's not funny. Then you get their little intro music, and then they go, okay, so to break it down, we're going to talk about it. And then they go to that longer time series where they're actually giving more detail. So I guess what you're talking about is a little bit different though, isn't it?
Talking about like with the hooks at the beginning. Yeah, it's similar in a sense, because, if with that 3 seconds, if it's the golden moment, it could be like near the end of the conversation and what leads up to it. So if you give someone an amazing, I'll give an example. If you have captured you having a conversation with a customer, and this whole video is leading up to this mind-blowing moment, getting that end 3 seconds of them having their mind blown with a little vague context of what it was, that in a sense is saying this is what this video is going to be at the end, but with a more emotional engagement.
I am building up a bit of a knowledge bank of videos where I have wow moments. So I do like video recordings like this with my clients. I'm generally taking them through their software or platform. So unfortunately, I can't share a lot of them because they've got like client contact data or something on the screen. But, there are those rare moments where someone's like, wow, that's amazing. Well, they like virtually go, woohoo. Like, I want to bottle that, put it into like a series and just put them back to back and go, this is what people thought of us.
That's actually an amazing idea. And you could even think of that as a repeatable intro potentially as well. So, we put, it's, that saying, we put 20% of our effort into 80% of the results and 80% into 20%. Your intro is that 80%, and people only usually put 20% of their effort in. So if you were to put a whole lot of effort finding all these golden wow moments, snippetize them together, put some music to it and goes, this is Avon Collins podcast, and just repeated that on all your videos, that's a great way to hook people. And it also becomes your soundbite intro. So it'd be an excellent thing to do.
And I think, when you're talking before about emotion in videos, one of the things that throws my mind back to, I love watching a show called the Gruen Transfer. It's on ABC, and they do snippets of ads, and they deconstruct them and talk about the different elements that are going on. And one of the most impactful things I've ever seen was an ad for seatbelts. It had no cars, it had no seatbelts, it had no talking. It was a family sitting in a lounge room, seemingly playing charades. And the father's pretending to drive the car, and he's looking over at the family, he's smiling, and he looks forward, and he's in slow motion. He's starting to be concerned that he's about to hit something. And then the family sort of see that he's in trouble, and then they go and like become his seatbelt with their arms. And then in a snap of a second, it goes from slow-mo to rapid back to slow-mo. And it's like he's been in a car accident, his body's jolted forward. There's like confetti and stuff from the table thrown in the air everywhere. And it just really makes you feel something.
Wow. Yeah.
Even you telling it, it's like bringing back some of those feelings.
I was feeling the tension in that as well right there. And it really goes back to like bringing that feeling out. And that's where like that creativity's really got to come in, because it's like just to show emotion instead of stating facts takes creativity. And that's such a creative use for seatbelt ads, because it's invoking all that emotion around family, loving you and caring for you, and, you doing them a disservice not wearing your seatbelt. Like it implies all these facts in your head from just the emotion.
I'll see if I can tag that in the comments of this episode as well. So for anyone who's listening, that's very, very powerful example of how to use emotion and imagery and that sort of feeling in video. So should someone hire a professional when getting video done for themselves?
Absolutely. So unfortunately, like videos are usually expensive unless you go overseas, and then sometimes the results vary. But simply put, I think it comes down to looking at the problem you have. If you want to make a video out of FOMO, like fear of missing out on something, it's probably not going to work out. Like you're probably going to, you're not aiming for a result to be fixed or something. But if you've got like a problem, like you go like, my website's not holding the leads, like they're not staying on, maybe a video can help people stay on the website long enough, or, I'm not getting a strong enough click-through rate on my ads and it's all text. Video is notorious for how much better it is at getting click-through rates up. So I think the question comes down to is, what is the problem you're trying to solve? How much is it worth to you? And, if it's within an X amount of range, then maybe it is worth getting a videographer.
I would say, for me, the purpose of video would be to leverage myself, because, I've only got a finite amount of time. I can't have one-to-one conversations with, 1,000 people to get to the 3 or 4 good ones that are actually going to do business with me. Like, I definitely try to give as many people as much time as possible. But one way to leverage is through video. And I think that a lot of people are a little bit misguided in, they think, oh yeah, I'll just whip one together. But then they go, you're using a much better, more professional camera than I am. You're much more well-practiced at the tools to then go and edit. You've got different like themes and settings. And before we jumped on, you play with your light settings. There's little things that just really make it sing and really add that magic that a lot of people don't have time to learn, because they're too busy, and that's when the video is really going to provide value for them, because they don't have that time to then go and create the nice video to then go and save them time. It's like a chicken and egg kind of thing.
Yeah, it is very much a chicken and egg kind of thing. And you bring up a great point there as well, because like you're doing, you're doing all these videos on yourself showcasing your personality, right?
Mm.
You don't need a videographer for any of that. Having a nicer camera isn't astronomically going to change the quality of that video. Sorry, can you hear that siren going off?
Yeah.
That was a fire truck just going past. Sorry, okay, he's gone now. I'll start again. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So yeah, when you're hiring a videographer, so you're delivering this really high value content. I've seen the videos you create. It's awesome. They're packed with knowledge, and that's where the main value of your video is coming from, is this knowledge and your passion for what you're doing. So there is this emotional engagement. Having a nicer camera is not going to improve that. It's just going to give you like having a nicer camera set up and everything, that's just going to like position you a little bit more expensive, which can be worth it for some people, but for most people, that's not worth it. If you can shoot it on an iPhone, then just shoot it on an iPhone. You should be getting a videographer in for their skills and their technical knowledge, not for their nice camera.
Yep. No, that's a pretty good point. And I think, all those little effects and things that really sort of kick it up a notch as well, like the, switching cameras, changing angles, changing the lighting, getting some movement shots, B-roll or whatever, putting that in and stitching it all together with a nice soundtrack, maybe some text on the bottoms. Like that actually takes a lot of time in post. I think a lot of people sort of go, oh, well, why can't I do that? You've got this single footage, you've got this single basic, end-to-end thing. Maybe whack something on the front and on the back like I do, but it's an art form and can take many hours, or can be done in 15 minutes, just depending on how complex and how picky you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that always comes down to, if you're going to do videos yourself, create a repeatable process. So, find out just the things you need, not what you want, things you need. So you go, I want to shoot, I want to edit it, and I want to add subtitles. It's like, okay, we'll create a step-by-step process so that you're not having to keep learning tips and tricks every time, because the learning is the longest part. It can take, a couple of days to learn new editing software for some people. And then, and then it can take another couple of days to learn a new like animation. So don't do that. Just know what you need to know and repeat yourself.
So how do you make the most of your efforts?
Ooh, how do I make the most of my efforts? So is it like get the best results out of my videos, or make my time efficient the best when I'm editing videos?
So when you've made a video, what next?
When you made a video, what next? Well, hopefully you've already planned this before you've made the video, but you should know where you're going to post it. You should have a system to snippetize it if you're into that as well. So having a way to take your video, so make a long form video first is a great way. So for instance, this 20-minute podcast is amazing. You can take this 20 minutes and upload it to the most appropriate platform. So I think, LinkedIn and podcasts would be a great way. People can listen to them for a longer time. When you go to Facebook and Instagram, you want to cut them down to like 30-second, 1-minute bites. Find the golden moments in your podcast, and you can then take those videos, those 31-minute videos, and you can add a link to take it back to the full length clip, so that people who enjoyed what you said can then get the maximum value out of the whole conversation, which could then potentially lead to a better paying client.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess one thing that, I always like doing the full length one, because I run it through transcription software and then use that as content on my website. So, I think I went back through the last 50 podcasts and turned them into text and got an additional 300,000 words on my website.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm not very familiar with SEO, but when I heard that, I was like, oh, duh, that's just genius. And, when you said that, I also noticed all the websites I find to be the most desirable actually have like their little podcast section with each episode. And then under each episode, they have their full transcript. And that's so much value added to your website.
Well, Google can't watch a video. Google can't see what's on an image. They know it's there, but they can't decode the value that comes from that. Some people will argue that there's AI and all that sort of stuff, but no, not really. When people are typing in Google, you just go, Cafe Brisbane. You don't type in, the name or what's this one on that street. Like there's some real language, natural language search going on when you're actually talking about it. You probably do the same thing in Google anyway, because it's not the formal written structure of a blog or something like that. Like when you write to write, it's different when you write to sound like you're speaking. So
that's so smart.
so what should a business have before creating a video, and at what point do they need one?
That's great. This is something I really wanted to discuss with you on, because I feel like you'd have a lot of knowledge around when a business would be ready for a video. My personal experience has been, going back to what I said before, is that a business is usually ready when they have a specific problem to solve. So they know it. So they know that, their positioning isn't strong with their customers. They're like, their website doesn't look, for lack of a better term, royal enough or expensive enough. Having a high-end video can emotionally engage them. Or another example, again, you got your ads, but they're not getting a strong click-through rate. And you know that if you got this click-through rate up, you'd make a lot more money. You've got a real problem to solve, which will generate real money. That's my general consensus for when you need to hire a videographer and all that. If you need to make a video for yourself, I think starting as soon as you can is great. And I always recommend, if you're going to start, capture, don't create. So a lot of people get in this high concept idea that you need to create something amazing and I need to script it out, get these visual effects. It's so much more effort than people realize. And in short, it's 99.9% of the time, it's not going to work out and it's not going to happen. So being able to capture engaging conversations you have with customers through your Zoom, recording them and being able to post them is an excellent way to get video out there and start with.
I think back to some people I've worked with that wanted to create video, and there was this in air quotes guru of video, didn't know how to use YouTube, which I thought was quite surprising. Put this really odd soundtrack in the background and got this person made up with makeup and going through these presentations. But it's sort of like, there's no point building Rembrandt if people want Mona Lisa. It's not the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. It really needs to respond to market need, market desire, or to fill a gap, something like that. I think that trialing with some of your own personally made content, or make something crappy, show some people and go, am I on the right track? Because if you do something that's totally, you spend 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 grand on professionally shot, movie length, whatever, documentary style, it could be something totally well off the mark. Or 3 months down the line, you decide to take a different tack in your business. You've just wasted all that money in investment. I would say personally that you'd want to have some established understanding of who your customer is, what they're interested, what triggers them emotively, and how best to do some testing. I think even we were talking about the Gruen Transfer before. What's his name? The guy who does Body Hack. He's one of the main guys who is Todd Sampson. There we go. He does. He did this ad for meth addicts, and he actually made it really graphic. And they did market testing before they went out, and the person said, I actually made me want to shoot up just watching that ad. So it's kind of odd that they've come up with this idea, but then it just really did not hit home with the market. You didn't want to provide an ad that actually encouraged the behavior that you're trying to stop. So I think that being able to understand what emotive triggers you're actually hitting are very important.
Yeah, that's a great one right there. And I can even add on to that, is if you say giving your video to your friends to review, or colleagues, everyone's really nice, and it's not good, because we want that constructive criticism. So some of the things I look out for is if someone says your video is good and that's it, it's not good.
I would say ask strangers and go on threes. 1, whatever. 2 is a coincidence. 3 is a trend.
Yeah, great one.
So that's a pretty basic one. So and you see it on. You ever watch? There was I think it was called Recipe Riches. It was a Woolworths thing, and they actually had people going out to market and presenting their idea on the street with a clipboard and doing a survey, just asking, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Does this sound interesting? Does that sound tasty or whatever? And the market feedback was often totally well off what you thought it was going to be. So yeah, evidence-based marketing. I think a lot of people kind of go by marketing by feel, which is probably, it should be more of a science project, an ongoing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's kind of why I stepped out of, say, the traditional Hollywood filmmaking into more so marketing is because you can get such clear, measurable results. With videos, you're always going on feeling. How do people go? You can really only measure the loudness of claps. But with with marketing, you've got so many measurables, and you can choose a measurable to target. And it's much clearer to see if what you're doing works or not.
I tried proposing an 8th P to the 7 Ps of service marketing, and that was planning for data. And I think that it was a bit of a stretch to get it as a P, but basically what you're saying is exactly right, is, plan for the data, but then there's an attribution bias. Like, for example, someone drives past the billboard, watches a video on someone else's phone, and then reads a magazine article and then buys online. The attribution goes to the online sale, but it didn't go to all of those points that made them create that feeling, that need, that desire. So I think people need to be aware that, statistics can prove everything and nothing at the same time.
Yep, that's so true, actually. Yeah, you gotta bring in common sense with everything and really exercise that.
Fantastic. Well, it's been really great chatting with you today, and I think there's been some fantastic stuff around that engaging video. And yeah, you don't need to be a millionaire to get Brad Pitt or anyone into your videos to create something good. Like you said, shot on iPhone is just fine, or Android. Thank you very much, Orson, for coming along today. And if you're listening along, you can get more info on Orson Lord and Mediable at his LinkedIn profile, which I'll put in the comments, along with that very nice video that gives a good example of that emotive response. If you're listening and you want to be part of the podcast, or if you have any questions, check us out at relevate.com.au and fill out the contact form. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening, and take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Avon.